Right. I think this is the time we've ranted about Dabo and everything that's happened this week, but again, there's a lot of season left. So I'm as hopeless as things feel right now. Things can change in a hurry. You just you never know. And so this team gets another opportunity to try to win a football game this weekend, and they're facing an opponent that throughout the years has been a pain in their side, and none other than the Syracuse Orange. This will be the first time that they are playing the Fran Brown version of the Syracuse Orange. So is there going to be a difference in how they play between Dino Babers and Fran Brown? I don't know. I expect them to. I expect Syracuse to bring their best game. Of course, we owe Fran Brown a lot considering last season and his thrilling 21-0 comeback against Miami that ended up putting Clemson in the ACC championship last year. So a lot of interesting angles there. But Syracuse, as a team, 2-1, opened the year with a tough loss to Tennessee. I think they lost. I believe the final score was 45-26, but I thought they showed a lot more competitiveness than the final score said. I think they didn't play very well early, and they got in a hole, and it was kind of too much for them to overcome. But they hung around, and they had some opportunities to get back in that football game. So I think they certainly have a lot of interesting aspects to their football team. I think offensively, Steve Angeli is actually the nation's leader in passing yards. So this is going to be a team that's going to want to throw the football a lot. They have not run the ball particularly well this year, but I think that is simply because they do have a lot of confidence in their passing game and the weapons that they have. TPC, when you look at the Syracuse Orange team, what do you kind of see, and what challenges do you think they're going to present for Clemson this weekend?
Yeah, definitely a team that likes to throw the ball around the yard. I think their quarterback's up over 1,000 yards already this season in just 3 games.
Yep.
So definitely, a guy that's going to throw it around a lot. He's 80 of 125, 8 touchdowns and 2 interceptions on the season. So they're going to spin it, man. They're gonna throw the ball around a lot. And that's going to be a test for this Clemson defense. Can we get pressure on them? Can we, speed them up? Can we speed Angeli up and kind of get him, off platform and things like that? And is that secondary going to be able to hold up? You saw last week against Georgia Tech where our secondary got caught with eyes in the backfield and looking at things that weren't their assignment and getting burned up the sideline. So you got to keep that in check this week because they are going to challenge you vertically as a defense. And then Clemson's offense, against the Syracuse defense, like they have to establish some sort of identity. They got to run the ball. The same things we just keep saying week after week. They're just not performing. And uh, you know, as you said, kind of in the beginning, outlining this game is like I'm up for anything offensively in this game. You got to get a spark. You got to get something going. You got to create some positive momentum on offense. You got to create some belief on that side of the ball because we just haven't to this point in time in the season. So I'm up for anything. Like you said, Wildcat, sweeps. Just get the ball in your playmakers' hands in space. Whatever that looks like, however you have to make it happen, get your playmakers the ball out in space, and let's see what happens. And please run Adam Randall. That kid's a beast. He really is. And give these other backs some opportunities as well. I don't want to see Cade Klubnik run it another 17 times against Syracuse. But, yeah, that's just kind of a quick overview of kind of how I see this matchup and what Clemson needs to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this Syracuse team is coming in a little bit. They've got some injury concerns offensively right now. Coming into the game, starting running back Yasin Willis, he's been labeled as questionable. Both of their tackles have been labeled as questionable. I think there's some opportunity here, defensively for Clemson. Syracuse gave up 5 sacks in their loss to Tennessee and 3 in their overtime win over UConn. I think this offensive line is certainly. I mean, obviously, when you drop the ball, and when you have as many dropbacks as they do this season, you're going to have sacks. But I do think that this will probably be the best opportunity I think this defensive line will have to generate sacks, considering just kind of the vulnerabilities there and the amount of times that they are certainly going to pass the ball this weekend. I mean, I really think you got to get after it. Steve Angeli is not a rushing threat. Nice to play a quarterback that does not really pose much of a threat there. He's going to want to sit back in the pocket, diagnose, and he's done that very well this season. But he's not going to escape pressure. Like that's not his game. Backup, former backup quarterback at Notre Dame. I think defensively for this team, I really, if this is going to be a game where TJ Parker wakes up and we see a multi-sack type of game that he at times we saw last season from him, this is one of the better opportunities you're going to get. Just because I think they're not going to. I don't think they're going to run the ball super effectively in this game. They haven't this year against any of the teams they played. They ran for 44 rushing yards against UConn. They are not a prolific rushing attack, even though I think their backs they have some quality backs, and Jason Willis is their leader. We'll see if he's back this weekend. But I don't expect them to run the ball traditionally very well. So, I mean, if you can, as long as you can, that doesn't become a problem. I mean, you should have opportunities to generate pressures and then generate, tackles for loss. Because, I think, the two FBS teams that Syracuse has played had a lot of opportunities and generated quite a bit of TFLs. So, I got to see it, man. This is a get right game for the defense. This is a type of matchup that I think is favorable as long as you hold up on the back end. And so we'll see kind of whether Clemson's DBs answer to the challenge, because they did give up some plays to Haynes King through the air, and that just can't happen when when you already have to worry about his ability as a runner. So, like I said, you don't have to worry about that with Steve Angeli. So this should be an opportunity for the front seven to get after it, and the DBs just need to hold up on the back end.
Yeah, absolutely. DB's got to hold up. Luckily for them, they don't have to worry about their peeking in the backfield too much this week, because they don't have Haynes King there. Waiting to run 20 yards on you. So look for Clemson to take advantage of it. I look for that defensive line, that front seven, to take advantage of it. Get after the quarterback. See if you can create some negative plays, some tackle for loss. Don't allow them to establish a running game. Not that they've been able to do that at all this season, but still. I don't want Clemson to be the get right game for their running game. So,
No.
manage that. And then, like I said, the offense, just focus on getting your playmakers the ball in space. Just do that for once. Let's do that and see if we can get any sort of traction. But should be a good game. Hopefully Clemson can find some semblance of an identity on offense, because they need it in the worst way.
Yeah, 100%. They absolutely do. And we got to see it. I really think that this is like I said, defensively, this is the time. And then on the other side of the football, I definitely expect to see a lot of Syracuse play this game. A lot of what how Georgia Tech did. They're going to mix up their looks, but they're going to drop guys in coverage and force Cade to make reads, because so far this season, he just has not been able to do it. So I definitely think running the football, committing to running the football should be a point of emphasis. I think you got to win this matchup up front. You need to have you need to have a confidence builder for this offensive line that just flat out has not played well through 3 games. Things you got to take some pressure off. You got to force Syracuse to put guys in the box, because that's what you didn't do against Georgia Tech. And it killed you for a lot of that game. And obviously there were, when you did start, you saw it when Clemson did have success running the football. All of a sudden, some big plays opened up. Obviously, the explosive play to Bryant Wesco was huge. So I really think that this Syracuse defense isn't anything special. I mean, they've given up points, they've given up yards to all 3 of their opponents. I definitely don't expect them to be a stalwart defensively, but then again, this Clemson team hasn't made any defense, look, any worse than the 2021 Georgia Bulldogs. So
Hey, look here. Hey, Clemson's offense is capable of making it look hard against any defense. They nothing looks easy for them on offense. They make everything look difficult. So I expect them to have a better performance, but we'll see. To be determined.
Yeah, to be determined is right. It really is concerning. And I just, you don't know what you're going to get from this team offensively week to week. I really don't. I don't know. I mean, I think this Syracuse team is certainly they're flawed. They're playing decent, but I don't think they're as good as they were last year. I'll say that. I don't. That's not what I see when I watch this team. But then, like I said, it doesn't matter for this Clemson team. Whether the opponent is that great or not. It seems so. Because I don't trust this group to execute the little things correctly. But yeah, running for the offense, it's running the football and committing to running the football. Give Adam Randall as many carries. I don't mean run him into the ground, because I don't think he has the conditioning yet to do that. He had to take himself out of the game once or twice on Saturday. But he can't have less carries than Cade. You need to run Cade Klubnik. I think it's good for him when he gets some opportunities to run the football. So I don't have a problem with that. But I don't think that you need to run him. I don't think he needs to be your leader in rush attempts every game. That just
He's no. Just not at the volume that they did. But I don't mind it. It gets them into the flow of the game. So, but I would like to see more carries from our traditional running backs. Adam Randall, Easy Gideon Davison, those guys. Give them some touches, give them some opportunities to get going.
Yep, 100%. And they're, obviously the biggest thing that worries me about this Syracuse team is their passing game. They do have like they said, they do have a prolific passing game. They have some really, really dynamic receivers. They use their backs in the passing game. They have a really good tight end who, if I remember correctly, he was at Syracuse the last time Clemson played them back in 23.
2023. Yep.
Yeah. And he had a couple of big plays. I think Dan Villari, I think he's a converted quarterback. So but he's come along this year. He's made some big catches for them through 3 games. So I mean, they do have a pretty good complement of weapons for Steve Angeli to throw to. They don't have an Oronde Gadsden. Thankfully, I don't think they have a player quite that good. But their receivers have made a lot of plays this year, and they're going to use their backs in the passing game. And like I said, they do have a really nice tight end. So, you're going to have to cover. You're going to have to account for everybody, that every eligible receiver when you play Syracuse, and they're going to do a lot of things to create some favorable matchups and put stresses on your defense. So like I said, getting after it, knowing that they don't have a mobile quarterback, I think is the key. You got to win your matchups. This defensive line has to live up to its billing. They've got to win their matchups. They got to get home because otherwise you will get burned. It's just because they're going to throw a lot at you in the passing game.
Yep.
All right. I think that exhausted. Any other keys to this game? I mean, what do you see for this this team in terms of if this team is going to get the passing game going, where does it come from? Does it come from Cade just getting easier reads? Does it come from this team just getting more creative in terms of just getting the ball out in space and making getting guys more run after catch opportunities? Because we haven't seen that a ton, but when they have gone to it, it's worked. I almost wish they would run more running back screens. That was something that was mentioned to me in a discussion I was having off in a group chat. It was I mean, when's the last time we ran a screen to the running back? With
Right.
Adam Randall's receiver
You got
background.
you got a former receiver there that's a big body guy that can catch the football, right? So I mean, I think that's kind of where it's at for me, Jordan, is like I just feel like this offense has got to get more creative when it comes to getting playmakers the ball in space and just allowing them to do what they do best. And that's, yards after catch, and just being dynamic in the open space and making people miss. I think that's kind of where it starts. Give Cade some easy reads early, get him in a rhythm, maybe run him a couple times, and then, like I say, like you say, or running back screens. Get the running back on, some crossers out of the backfield or something, like just easy completions that also get your you get your athletes the balls out in space so they can create. Because right now, like I said, everything for this offense looks difficult. It looks just like you're running in quicksand. That's what this offense looks like when they're trying to move the ball down the field, most of the time. So you gotta create some momentum there in some way, and I think the best way for that is to just get creative with your guys that are big playmakers. Your Brian Wesco's, your TJ Moore's, your Antonio Williams, if he happens to be back. Your Cole Turner. Name whoever you want to name, and then Adam Randall and all those guys out of the backfield. That's what Clemson needs to focus on this week. And I think if they do, they could see themselves have some success against this Syracuse defense.
Yeah, absolutely. And they found some things that worked. I mean, they ran that Tyler Brown sweep a couple of times, and he got 11, 12 yards like both times. Like it was a very effective play, very easy. It got him the ball out in space, and he made it. He made a couple of guys miss, and it was just an easy first round. Took the thinking out of Cade's hands. Don't put a read on it or anything. Just run a straight up, when you do give it, like those are the times where the motion is actually the defense is actually forced to respect the motion. Like so, it really it's simple things like that. I think you saw more of that in the second half against Georgia Tech, and that was good to see. So maybe maybe that's something they build on because just. Cade is not seeing the field well, so stop forcing him to see the field. Just make it easy for him because it just obviously he cannot be trusted to make full field reads right now.
No, quick completions, easy completions. That's what we need to start with.
Yeah,
and then maybe we can grow from there. But let's try to get a bit of a faster start. Yeah, I see y'all in the comments section. I got it. I misspoke there a little bit, but I corrected it.
I wasn't gonna. I don't know if you saw. I smirked a little bit, but I didn't.
Saw it. I saw them in there talking their mess.
Yeah. Oh man, that was
Uh,
something. All right, man. It's time. Let's give our score predictions for this game. Um, we are not doing very well in our score predictions right now.
no.
Um, just even the one game we picked correctly, we didn't pick correctly. If you
No.
get what I mean. So this is we are both off to a rough start in 2025. Let's see if they can correct it if we can correct it this weekend. Um, this game is for a lot of reasons. Like I said, it's a must win. Not just for the obvious reasons of record and ACC, contention and staying alive there, but for pride, for the program, for the hope that this team can still right the ship, in the hope that this program isn't on a complete downward spiral.
Yeah.
All of those things are optically are in the balance in whether or not they win this game. This, like I said, this Syracuse team is going to present a lot of a lot of matchups that are favorable, but there's also there's also some things that have me worried, and they certainly have some questions on the injury front that I'm interested to see whether those guys play, because they could make a difference. I mean, I think that if their starting tackles are in, obviously that's much better than having backups. If they get their running back, that's a big deal. I think Justin Ross Simmons, one of their receivers, is also left the game against Colgate last week, but I think he's going to be okay. I think he's going to play. So I think injury wise, that's going to be something I'm keeping an eye on as we get later in the week. Of course, Syracuse is going to release an injury report, I think, on Thursday, as required by ACC rules. So we'll definitely know more then. But until then, I'm going to operate as if they are playing. I think I am in no position to pick this team to win any game comfortably. I'm honestly in no position to pick this team to win any game right now, at least any Power Four game, because they are. I don't know if you've seen Clemson's recent record against Power Four teams, but it is not good dating back to last season. So I think they're 3-6 in their last 9 against Power. It's something like or 3-5. I don't remember what it is. I saw it on Twitter the other day, or today, and I already forgot it. And I saw the comparison to Vanderbilt, and they are actually better in a couple of those categories than Clemson in that span. So
That's just sad, man. That's sad.
yeah, it's pretty gross. So this game has some things that worry me. I mean, I think this will be the best passing attack that you've played, just in terms of at least in terms of performance. I mean, obviously, I think LSU has talent at quarterback and at receiver, but they have not been particularly great this year throwing the ball as it stands right now. This is the best performing passing game that you will have played. But I also think this is the worst rushing attack that you've played. So,
yes,
I don't know. Something's got to give. You got to. I don't know if we're going to see Steve Angeli throw for 400, 350, 400 yards, or this Clemson being able to stop the run. It actually hampers them, and they get some pressure. But I'm going to predict based off of what this team has shown me, and I'm going to pick that Clemson wins a really, really tight football game. I'm going Clemson 27, Syracuse 24. It's going to be that's kind of where I am right now.
You know what? I'll switch my prediction up a little bit, but that was my exact prediction for this game.
Nice.
So I'll switch it up just for, I guess, some variety there. I'll go Clemson 31, Syracuse 28.
Yeah. Have you seen the spread for this game?
Yeah, 17.5.
17.5.
I don't know what Vegas is talking about. Why would they give Clemson 17 or give Syracuse 17.5 points? Like, that's crazy to me. I wouldn't pick Clemson 17.5 over anybody right now.
Yeah.
There ain't no way. That's crazy to me. That's crazy. I think the over under for it's like 55.5. So I don't know, man. Clemson, I don't think Clemson's gonna win by 17 points. I don't.
Yeah.
I just don't. I
If
don't
they
trust
win,
this team.
yeah, I can't trust. What were they favored by against Troy? 33, 31?
33.5 or something like
Yeah.
that. It was crazy. And we almost got beat. So that clearly didn't happen. But yeah, no. I'll go that was my exact score prediction. So it's funny. We're kind of you know, thinking the same things when it comes to this Clemson Tiger team and what's going to happen against Syracuse on Saturday. So you got 27-24. I got 31-28.
All right. We're both predicting field goal wins in a game that we're favored by 17.5. That hilarious, but funny how, I mean, how attitudes change, how opinions change when you see what we've seen through 3 weeks. It's not encouraging. But
Yeah.
Vegas still likes Clemson. Like I said, I do think part of it is I do think there are a lot of matchups in Clemson's favor in this football game, but I can't trust them to
Yeah.
win those matchups. So
We've seen that before. And it
yeah, I
didn't work
mean,
out for us.
like on
So
paper, like
I don't know, man. I don't know.
yeah,
If I was gonna bet this game, which I'm not, I would take Syracuse in the points.
yeah, I'm not picking any Power Four team to or any Clemson to cover against any Power Four team right now. At least not any competent Power Four team. I mean, shoot, I guess if they were playing like, I don't know who's the worst team in the Power Four right now. Maybe Stanford or something. Like, I think they would cover the spread against Stanford. They are awful, but like everybody else, I don't know. I don't know if I would pick them to cover the spread. And especially against Syracuse, given the history, I know it's a different coach. It's not Dino Babers. I know but like I can't pick this team to blow out Syracuse, a team that's been a thorn in Clemson's side for a long time. John says they'll cover against UNC. Yeah, maybe. We'll see when that game rolls around. I don't know.